I was going to ask if you were sipping on that Josh.
I'm not gonna lie, I do love that Josh.
Is it good?
So what is Josh and why are you not sipping on it?
Okay, so the shop I spend part of my week at, they like to do more off the beaten path type stuff. And Josh is like, you go into Walmart and that's like, oh, we're joshing it up. And here's the thing, Josh isn't a bad wine. It's just like, number one, it's called Josh, which is like honestly the funniest. If you were looking for the funniest thing you can call a wine, like yeah.
I feel like Josh is the name.
Yeah. You were sipping on that Keith, like,
yeah. No, Josh is the name that people are like Josh, right? Instead of Jeff. Like it's like the natural default. They're like Josh.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's a good crowd pleaser and stuff. Yeah, we don't carry it because they're better or at least as good wines for the same kind of price point, if not, less expensive. But yeah, shout out Josh.
By the way, this is Nerzy, the stupidest podcast of leftist rap Twitter. I'm Drew. I'm joined by Slava and Trey. Our producer is Steel Tip Dove. Sorry, cops. And we are joined today by Jeff Weiss, aka the Land Magazine himself.
Yeah. I am the Land, as many people have said.
So Joe and Jeff, y'all both are involved with rap labels to some degree. What do we have to do to get Sippin' on That Josh to be a going concern in underground hip hop?
You can start
the
off.
Same thing as sipping lean, man. It's going to become a fucking epidemic.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just the Josh is really killing it. The name. It's really hurting.
Well, as a friend of the blog, Disco Vietnam once said, he was like disillusioned with DJ Shadow, like going from this like great mystique of introducing and even the private press, and then like he kind of stepped out of the shadows and just Disco Vietnam just looks at me and he goes, "He's just Josh now." I was like, okay. So
mean.
Yeah.
So mean. I was like, I don't know. You still made introducing. Like, okay.
So we got to get E40 on another DJ Shadow song, and it'll happen.
You could sip on that Earl.
Yeah. The Earl Private Reserve or something.
He's got his own cookbook, Goon with the Spoon.
Wow.
What's he cooking?
I don't know. I haven't got that far.
Okay.
I read. That's why I'm here.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the only website that was left that hadn't been taken over by AI bots, Pitchfork, has been folded into GQ. It's why we have gotten Jeff on this show and kept Slava up, even though he's like, he has to wake up at like 5 a.m. and also is jet lagged from like Manitoba or Alaska or something.
Same shit. Yeah.
If you can point either one of those out on the map, we'll send you a shirt that we don't make yet.
What's funny is like while I was there, this whole Pitchfork thing was happening, and I asked everybody I worked with, I'm like, "You ever heard of Pitchfork?" And they're like, "No."
It's in the top of the town around Brooklyn. I'll tell you that much. Yeah.
I bet. I feel like it's the spiritual epicenter of Pitchfork.
Yeah, it is the end of a fucking era, man.
Yeah, I feel it's like the in a way it's like the death of the millennial, because I was thinking about it, and it's like all these people are like mourning it on Twitter, And then I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, there's no Zoomers here. Like everyone, there are, but like it's 1%. It's like all millennials and like Gen Xers, and the Zoomers are like making TikTok videos. You know what I mean? They're
Well, the Zoomers are just like, yeah, that website only gave Ariana a 7.3 on her album. Fuck them. They should have died years ago. Like, yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely going to like individual TikToks that are just like bribed. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think it's like I've been saying this for a while, but I was like, it's sort of the death of the written word. Like I don't, but it's so complicated, right? Because it's like such a confluence of things. It's like of course, people are reading less, but Pitchfork was still getting 8.5 million views a month. But like there's there's legislation going through the United States government right now that would kind of have a profit share from Google and Instagram, kind of being forced to give money to individual publishers to kind of keep journalism alive. But the big tech companies obviously have like currently bought them off to this point. But then like Google's going to end up going around it because AI, right? Like now if you Google anything, it's like AI searches before you go to a website. So I don't know. Plus like, people, have pivoted to video and podcasts, like whether we want to or not. Like, I don't think the average person ever really read, but there was like kind of a class of people that did. And now I think, you know what I mean? Like there will be people obviously that like it, but I don't think enough to sustain a website like where, has 20 or 30 people on staff.
I mean, I just think about how when I was like 14, 15, whatever, I was growing up in Western North Carolina. There were 20,000 people in the whole county, maybe 1,000, 2,000 in my town. And I just I liked weird music, and we had DSL. And so I just spent
Dick sucking lips.
Yeah. And I just spent all of my time on the computer, downloading Spoon albums off LimeWire because I read about them on Pitchfork and they seemed good. And so much of that experience shaped my identity, as well as my virulent lack of friends in high school. And just thinking about what does it mean? If Pitchfork never happens, then I don't know. I'm not a failed music writer, so maybe that's bad that Pitchfork existed.
You'd be getting beat up by all your coworkers at Dairy Queen.
Yep.
As an adult, the teenage slapping you in the head.
Yeah.
I think at its best, it was sort of an idea, right? And that was what was cool about Pitchfork. I think at the that first 15 years of it, whereas it was you knew what a Pitchfork band was. You knew kind of the aesthetic. They had an idea of kind of it was very Gen X, right? I think to its credit, it's very much this shit sucks. This shit is cool. That's mainstream corporate bullshit. This is kind of a more authentic alternative, right? And at a certain point, that shifted for good reason, right? Poptimism, whether people want to argue about whether it went too far or not, obviously is a good idea, at the beginning. Especially because a lot of stuff, Pitchfork, to its credit, or to its discredit at the beginning, did not really cover much rap. They eventually did. They broadened their kind of horizons to cover more. I still would have liked a lot more coverage of that. I mean, but it's everything, right? It's a giant ecosystem. I feel like Pitchfork, then everything died. So then Pitchfork, everyone's well, you have to cover all these different types of music, right? Because XXL is no longer a legitimate concern. Complex just published a post today where J. Cole is the best rapper of 2023.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Noisy is gone, which was one of the best. But with Nersey has
you're not allowed to say the former's name.
Oh yeah, but Noisy was one of the great websites of the 2000s.
You said it again. Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
The website that shall not be named was one of the great websites of the 2000s.
Voldemort.com.
Yeah, but that's gone, right? And now there's different, which was of course my plan for POW Passion of the Weiss was I was planning on outlasting everybody and conquering the runes of music journalism. My empire of dirt.
Zoomers definitely didn't like Pitchfork, but you know what they did like is Anthony Fantano.
They do,
and I feel like while you're right in saying that like the business model can sustain a newsroom of 15 to 20 people, it let Anthony Fantano cook, and maybe that's enough.
I think you're also forgetting the final 30 minutes of the Joe Budden podcast, which, as we all know, is dedicated to bangers. Sleepers. Okay. Sorry.
I think it's called Bangers, which you have to subscribe to if you want to hear.
But I mean, even podcasts are kind of, like what's find me an employed podcast producer at this point. It's a really precarious market, I think, for all facets of media. The LA Times is about to lay off 20% of its staff, they're saying, and there's been so many layoffs. Vox had layoffs. Sports Illustrated, yeah. I mean, that was already.
I still can't figure out how you fuck up running Sports Illustrated, man.
I don't know how you can fuck up.
They just put out like a quarterly fucking swimsuit issue, man. Like,
I don't think they fucked it up. It's just a numbers game. They're just like, make this bar go up a little bit. How can we do that? Well, knock Sports Illustrated off the graph.
Well, do you know
bar goes up?
Do you know the deal with Sports Illustrated? So basically, they'd like. The company that was publishing Sports Illustrated was licensing the rights to publish Sports Illustrated from like another group that owned like the rights to Billabong, like the old
what?
Yeah,
what?
That's how fucked up media is, right? Like it's like so they had to like license it from the Billabong guy, but the guy that was the publisher of New Sports Illustrated was the guy that got thrown out from the LA Times. He was the publisher of the LA Times for about a month, but like all these like sexual harassment things came about him, and then he was running like
in a month
Sports Illustrated. Yeah. I mean, that's like the other thing, right? Is these people don't like, it was a David Roth point where none of these people read. They have no idea how to run a website. They think because they're rich, they're smart. They all think that they can go into media and figure out what's wrong with it. That's been a thing that's happened for 20 years. And I don't actually think anyone can figure it out, except got to give him credit. Maybe Bill Simmons was the only one that kind of figured it out, because The Ringer is probably the only sustainable model, because you're like, and it still had to get owned by Spotify, right? Where it's like, but the model makes sense, right? Where you're like, you have, let's say 10 to 15 podcasts that people actually want to listen to. And you still have a website, which is a loss leader, right? Because you still want to publish like quality journalism and whatever.
And
The Ringer is also like
as a partnership with HBO.
No,
it started off on that foot.
Well, then it got bought. Yeah. He also had to be famous. Like Bill Simmons is one of the most famous, personalities in America.
Right.
I mean, The Ringer is like the fucking like Chris Paul in the summer of 2023 of websites, just like an asset that was passed around.
I hope it continues to exist, but like it's one of those things where it's like, what is the day when Spotify decides like we don't want to publish a website anymore? What's the point?
Yeah,
of this? You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's the future of everything. I mean, like. And it's going to be a lot of like individual, like you're right. Needle Drop is, and No Jumper is, I'm sure, making a ton of money, not just from porn. Like,
I was about to say, I feel like a lot of it is porn
or gambling.
But people are now, but like again, these people figured out how to make money, and that's just a total like, lack of journalistic ethics, right? Like they're selling spots, they're playing your songs for money. Like, I mean, not Fantano necessarily, but the rest, most of these websites are these Instagram page. Like you could I wrote an article for the LA Times. This was, I think it came out in the summer of 2019 or 2020. And it was about how all the popular blogs no longer had websites, right? They were all YouTube channels and Instagram pages.
Yeah.
And that's been like that for like 5 years, and now we're kind of like it's like the Wile E. Coyote has been running off the cliff now for 5 years, and now we're sinking.
And he finally looked down.
Yeah.
I mean, well, one thing that I personally find interesting is like Passion of the Weiss, like you said, your plan was to outlast them all. And kind of almost like a meme on music journalism internet is like people being like, oh shit, okay, now we have to do the defector of music journalism. And I'm kind of like looking at it and being like, looking at this and being like, well, Jeff has been doing that for like a decade, 15 years. I don't even know.
Almost 20. Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah.
I'm not even 20 years old.
Yeah, it was. I know, right? Paul Thompson, it just turned 20. Yeah. But like, no, yeah, I feel like it kind of. I mean, we tried. I mean, you probably don't remember. I think like it must have been 09 or 2010. We tried to do like a defector model. You know, like I think we were trying to merge with O Word. Do you remember O Word? Like the no, probably not even. It was a good website in like 08, 09.
Okay.
And yeah, we tried to do something like that. And I would love, I mean, I would love to make POW more of a profitable endeavor. I love the idea. I wish everyone the best who's doing, if they want to do it, a worker owned music website. Like, I think there needs to be like 50 times more coverage of things. I'm wary of the amount of people willing to pay, and that's what I've personally found. And like, we might, obviously have to explore other options in the future about ways to kind of like make the site viable. Cause I would love to pay writers more in all honesty. Like I have zero delusions of ever making it, like no one will ever want to buy the site. That's like impossible, but I would love to be able to pay writers like $300 a story, and
yeah,
which isn't enough, right? Like I should be paying people $1,000 a story, minimum. But it's
what's the name on Sex and the City that had a big ass apartment and more shoes than anybody should have based on like writing a fucking 250 word column once a week.
Yeah, but she got paid $4 a word.
That's what we need to get back to.
well,
like $8 a word or some shit. Like yeah,
she was getting $4 a word.
Yeah, like Ernest Hemingway, I think, was like doing like Spanish war reporting, Spanish Civil War reporting, and I think he was getting like the equivalent of like $50,000 in modern money per story. Like it's something like that. It was like he was getting like $4,000 in like 1937 money. You know what I mean? It was like,
dude, you could buy a country. You could buy a country with that money.
What'd you say, Slava?
I said they didn't have like fail compilations back then. That's where the real money would have been, right? Like a Rob Dyrdek style hilariousness or whatever that show's called. That's where the real money is. You have to do that.
Well, we don't know what was on those newsreels that they were playing like between the picture shows.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
Is there a viable way to have maybe several versions of Anthony Fantano? Please, just let me be clear. Good, different, varied versions of what Fantano does, but they exist behind a website, right? Like, I mean, it still eliminates the writing, but then, like you said, you could use the money that people like that generate to pay, right?
That's
loss leader or something.
That's the only way to do it. I think you have to, like I was saying about The Ringer, right? Like that's those things supported, but I don't know. Can an Anthony Fantano like the internet is sort of old? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't produce new things the same way.
We're gonna feel real old when TikTok is washed.
That's what it's coming.
That's gonna feel fucking crazy.
It's coming.
Don't say that.
That's gonna feel crazy, bro.
It's gonna happen. Like, I mean, if you look at it, right? Like, let's look at the history of like the internet so far, right? We went from like Friendster to MySpace to Facebook to Instagram is for old millennials. Like if you look at Zoomers, like they barely post or they don't even take it seriously. Like TikTok is going to be, Vine is gone. Whatever the next thing is going to be will not be. It's TikTok's not going to have like some kind of like hegemony for 10 years.
I mean, are we going to see like all right, fuck that question. Emily just texted me. Embiid dropped 70 points on Wemby.
What?
Wait. What do you mean?
I don't watch basketball. That sounds like a lot.
It's much more than usual.
Amount.
Yeah, that team has nobody on it though. It's not very impressive.
Wemby had 33, and that's like a really good night for him. Shootout. Yeah. I mean, I watched the first 3 quarters. Embiid hit 49.
Jesus. Okay.
Time to trade him.
Yep. His value, it's only going down from here. Let's see if we can get like 2 firsts and Bruce Brown for him.
Hey, fuck you, man. I think one thing to note is Weiss. Weiss used to be. It's funny because we started this podcast like morning Weiss, and that was almost a year ago, and now we're doing the first episode of season 2, and we're just mourning a different website. I can't wait to see what we mourn season 3. But to his credit, Weiss did figure out a way to do advertising really well, or like natively, right? And Pitchfork never even really seemed to care about that. Maybe it's because they were scared of being called sellouts. But I just wonder if like they could have bought themselves a couple more years if they played ball.
I don't think the other thing is I don't think brands care anymore about display ads. I think they want to, like, if you're a brand, right? And let's say you're Subway, which I bet has like some outrageous number of Instagram followers. I bet Subway has got like 5 million Instagram followers, something probably ridiculous. But let's say they even have 1 million. Why would you not spend $1 million on ads on Instagram that's directing it to people and can derive direct sales or whatever it is, you know, like hit you? Because Instagram has tracked like everything. They know every little detail about you and what you like. So why would they not take out the ad on that rather than, you know, go to a third party company? I just don't think they care.
Yeah, I mean, that is sort of there's like a disconnect there between people care about writing. Like, it might not be a ton of people, but they obviously do. The ones who do obviously do. And advertisers seem to not care. Because I think you do raise a good point where, like, you know, people always blame the media executives because they're the ones who do the laying off. But, you know, also we should be getting mad at advertisers and also like people who aren't figuring out new ways to do shit. I don't know.
I think
dude, I got tons of words for fucking Google and Facebook in this whole situation that we found ourselves in.
Like what?
As well as fucking the Congress people or whatever government regulators allowed this to happen.
You know, I tweeted this other day, but what's so galling to me is that I'm constantly, as somebody that's run this blog for like forever, right? None of these, like, everyone is desperate now to get on like my site. Not everyone, but a lot of, you know, if they're aware of journalism, they want to get on the site, right? But no one will take out an ad on the site because they'd rather, you know, spend. And like, I understand why, but like, you're bemoaning all these people are going to bemoan the death of journalism, and like they're going to be all these major labels are going to be complaining, oh, we can't get coverage for any of our artists. And like, you know, you saw the Billboard article last year where they're like, oh, we're not minting new stars. You're like, oh, I wonder if one of the reasons why you're minting new stars is because you're all doing fucking marketing and people are not that stupid to only see through. Like, you build mythology of artists through press. I hate to say it, like, press are fucking willing accomplices 80% of the time. And like,
Absolutely.
Larger than life if you don't give fucking press access. And I understand, like, they're like, oh, I don't like, you know, like, I don't like these not real journalists. People complain about Budden or No Jumper or whatever it is. But like, you need to take out ads to support these websites. Like, I'm friends with Justin Gage, who does Aquarium Drunkard. And we'll text a lot about this, you know, just like, because we're basically the two last blogs other than maybe Stereo Gum. And which is like kind of a different thing. You know, it's amazing they're still successful. Like, I mean, I'm sure it's not a high profit margin, but no one wants to take on an ad, you know, and like we'll be deluged. There's 10 publicists for every one writer at this point.
Yeah.
And they're hitting you up all day long. And then, you know, tell your client to take on an ad to support this website, but they don't want to do that because they would, and like these major labels, I cannot stress enough, are making insane amounts of money now. But the executives have just learned. They're like, I'll just be behind the scenes and I'll be like inconspicuous. And like, I'll let, you know, whoever wants to get mad at like this person doing criticism or whoever the villain is of the day. But most of the executives are actually the one pulling the strings and actually have buying power. They're just like invisible and everything collapses, you know?
I mean, yeah, that's another sort of question is like, I don't know, like Spotify is partially owned by all the major labels. Like, why, like, is there a world in which, like, you know, the major indies, like the XLs and the merges and shit like that come together and say, like, okay, we're going to just do Pitchfork over again. We'll call it Spork. And like, we will just step away because we know that it's best for the music industry or something.
I mean, Uproxx is owned by Warner. So, I mean, on some degree, like, that has already happened to a point, but I don't think they care. I don't think they value journalism to that degree. I mean, maybe a few people do here and there. I also don't think they're that rich. I think the ones that are really that rich are, I mean, XL's probably doing great off of Dell money still, But I don't think
Yeah.
like, your average, I don't think like Downtown Records is like printing cash or whatever. I don't think Beggar's Banquet is like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's really like, your big four, and they don't care. They're completely agnostic to anything. I mean, look at the artists that they sign now. I mean, like it's just, they're not exactly looking for the next Outcast anymore. They're looking for like TikTok artists that they can make a cool like 4 or 5 million off of. So let's sign them for let's say they sign them for $1 million. You make 4 or 5 million off of them, and whatever, you own them forever. So maybe they get another hit, maybe they don't.
Like 24K Golden. Remember, you heard about that guy all the time for like 6 months, and then never again.
Totally. And like even Designer, like as much as we clown probably Designer, I guarantee like they made 5 times the money off Panda that they signed him for, and then
Yep.
I worry about Alex G. Alex G just signed to a major.
Fine. I mean, look at Tame Impala.
He'll be fine.
I mean, like he'll just be the indie darling, and he'll be insufferable, and you'll see him everywhere for the next 5 years because they need a token. He's like the new Tame Impala.
Yeah. Okay.
Who's the
So
guy that
Alex
works for
G's.
everyone?
What were
Like
you
Mac
gonna say?
DeMarco. Yeah, like Mac DeMarco was for a little bit there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta
probably.
have the Coachella side stage loss leader.
And he'll make money, right?
Yeah,
Like,
okay, first of all, it's called the Gobi. Show us some fucking respect.
yeah. I mean, they'll make money though off Alex G. I mean, also like the other thing is the labels don't have to spend that much money. I mean, really, I think what they mostly spend their money on is promotion at this point. There's no physicals, for most places.
I mean, this has always been my conspiracy theory about why J. Cole happened, is because J. Cole, you don't really need an album budget beyond sample clearance because he can produce it himself. He does the raps himself. He famously is willing to go platinum with no features. Like,
Not everyone's willing to do that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes you can't just call 21 Savage up, even though he does from time to time now. But like, yeah, you can't just call 42 Doug up,
Man, J. Cole sucks so fucking bad, bro. Like, and I don't understand why this
that's
like
the other
keeps
part.
going forward and forward. And like, but other stuff people don't care about. Like, where's like, I feel bad for Big Sean. Like, why J. Cole and
I
not
don't
Big
feel
Sean?
bad for Big Sean.
They're both can be bad.
Yeah, but like, what is acceptably good, and the other is.
Well,
whatever.
here's the thing.
Big Sean.
Big Sean is good for like the first 25 seconds of a song, and then you get to around like 27 to 32, and it's like, I wish I'd never heard that.
Dude, I don't know, man. Major label rap is like, I feel like you get into the conversation where you're like, rap music is bad, and then everyone's like, but XYZ, right? But like, major label rap is really bad right now. Like, it is the reason. Like, it's just the worst I think it's ever been in my lifetime. Maybe like there was like 08, 09 was really bad, but
That was a dark era.
Jeff, there's at least 4 Nas albums that come out every year, and you have to think back to a time when the people that were putting rap on their shoulders were 2 Chainz and Juicy J. That was like the darkest era.
that was a good time.
That was a good time, man. 2 Chainz and Juicy J whip ass. What the fuck you talking about?
Bangers.
Juicy J made the Thriller of ratchet music.
Yeah, okay, and that was
That was a good. I mean, do you really need to listen to 4 Nas albums still?
a year, or I'll die. It's part of my parole conditions.
It's just I don't know. It's just like I like mostly listen to like young like West Coast like street rappers with like 200,000 Spotify listeners that are like very popular like regionally, and I think regional rap is really cool, and I think there's some really cool like underground stuff going
You've
on.
been listening to Yellow Hill?
Yeah, I like Yellow Hill. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the first episode of Nerdy Ever. We took a clip from that song with him and fucking Sugar Free, where Sugar Free talks
Oh yeah,
about
that sounds great.
where Sugar Free talks about if the bear breaks in the cabin and Big Bear or whatever.
Yeah. He was his wife. I think his wife was living in Big Bear, and then he moved out of there. And like when I was interviewing Sugar Free, like I guess probably almost like a year ago, he was like looking at Big Bear on his like TV in his like he lives in Victorville, and he was like looking at it, and he was just like cursing about like he's like, God damn, I told my ex-wife to evacuate, and like they're all like sniffing at Big Bear, and you're like, this is the most Sugar Free moment.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Jeff, you are like a huge proponent of local music. The only reason I know who Kevin Gates is because you like mentioned him in a post you did when you were covering the Boosie trial.
Right. Yeah.
So like stuff like that still does bubble up, and
Yeah.
Kevin Gates like would go on to become a huge rap superstar. But it took someone writing about him about how he was a local wonder for that to happen. I think that could still happen. No.
It can. I think, of course, it can. I think it's happening more infrequently. I think, like, let's look at the '90s, right? Like, to go way back, right? Like, so the kind of music that's coming out of California, right? Because obviously that's kind of like my closest vantage point. Those artists, they had to get like the Bay Area ones got a deal on Jive. The West Coast ones got a deal on Profile. They got a deal on or Death Row, signed obviously. Relativity was putting out records. And they were like kind of like bigger kind of indie, Ruthless, obviously. And then, but they would
What was the one that Master P was on
No Limit.
before
Oh.
he was No Limit?
Did he? I mean, I know they did the big deal with Profile. I think that was their.
I have a bunch of tapes of his, and like they also did fucking
Oh, the West Coast Bad Boys one.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that was I think I might have been Profile, but like they did a lot of stuff. I mean, they were obviously, those kind of labels would do it, but
Talking about A-Minute Records.
Yes, in a minute. Yes, all of their cassettes that I
A-Minute
own.
Records, yeah.
I have a bunch of their dead stock cassettes, and they all have little like slips in the back that have little questionnaires that are like, "How did you find this record? What did you think? Also, do you rap? And would you like to send us your demo?"
Incredible.
right, yeah. But I just think that like right now, like if you look at it, the rappers from LA that made it, the only one that really has gotten like big. I mean, there's a few right over the last few years. You have Roddy Ricch, who sounds like Atlanta. And then you even look at a group like 41 out of New York, right? Like that, like they would appear to me like from afar to be the hottest drill group, right? But like they're so right. They have a hermetic kind of probably on the streets of New York. They're probably really you probably hear them out of a car and like, I don't know, maybe East New York or
I
where.
don't even know them.
41 is like they're huge.
Yeah, they're very much still on the internet.
Yeah, right, and they're huge. Yeah. But even a young Slowby in
I think it's also like they just kind of appeal to the kids who like aren't driving around in cars right now and that kind of stuff. Like they're not going out to bars, so it's not like if Ferg puts out a banger and you hear that shit like when you're like walking past the bar, it's like I think I want to go in for a drink or whatever. Like that's not happening yet.
Yeah, I mean, even
like, it's mostly like 15-year-olds champion that shit.
I don't know who the big. I would guess from afar. I don't know that Baby Drill is the biggest young rapper from Atlanta, right, to come out. But like again, no national reputation. In California or in LA right now, it's like there's not really a huge rapper. Chicago, I can't think of I mean, I guess it would probably been Polo G a few years ago that came out. I haven't heard a Baton Rouge artist. No, that's not to say that there aren't big artists that are kind of in their like little tiny bubble, but most of the artists that go nationally either sound like Atlanta or more often they're like a kind of Jack Harlow type where they're kind of like this regional slurry kind of, you know what I mean? Like like what is a Jack Harlow? Like
Non-denominational.
Yeah, it's just like it agnostic.
He's a tall white boy you can put in a New Balance commercial, and that's why he's big right now.
Yeah, he could be in White Man Can't Jump.
Very, very nice kid. I met him before. Very nice kid.
I'm sure he's lovely.
Like we know what's going on here. Yeah.
He's like Tyga.
Yeah,
yeah. I would
like a nice guy. Like a nice guy.
Very nice guy, Tyga.
Tyga was also in a movie. It was a porno that he directed.
Tyga had to be in like the new House Party, right? Like he had to.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah.
Oh, there's been a lot of rappers in pornos recently too, which.
I mean, I think Sauce Walka is like an OnlyFans star.
Oh yeah, I've seen that on his Instagram.
Yeah, I like he posted a clip on Twitter, and I was like, dude, Sauce Walka, I did not want to see that. Like,
there was a few years ago, like Denzel Curry was in that fucking porno.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, there was a series called Groupie Love.
What's his name? Ski Mask.
Yep.
Ski Mask, the Slump God.
Yeah, and I mean, look, even like 21, right, is huge right now, and even like 21. I don't know what you guys thought of that last album, but I thought it was honestly pretty bad. And I really like 21 Savage.
Are you
but
talking about American Dream or whatever?
yeah, yeah.
I play it in the wine shop, and like there will be drunk people who come in on a Saturday and like, yeah, that's what's up, and it's like, yeah, okay, just leave me alone.
That's exactly right.
It didn't qualify because it was too short, and like Billboard changed the rules for this album. This is like a breaking development.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like Sexy Red, I guess, is kind of like a regional rapper, but even then, like, she's not like a St. Louis regional. You know what I mean? She's just kind of like a new version of like what Gucci Mane was doing, like, you know.
Yeah.
I think Sexy Red's more niche right now still, but Sexy Red is gonna blow up. But like, yeah, Sexy Red is far from a regional rapper.
And Ice Spice is sort of like I like Ice Spice, but she's definitely like a kind of a cleaned up major label version of drill.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So moving on, we are now going to make predictions for the year 2024. Jeff, you have as the guest, you have the choice of either making 2 predictions for the year or being the judge of our predictions.
I will be the judge because I'm an asshole.
Okay.
I'm a judgmental critic to the end.
All right. Slava, you have the honors.
This is what my real prediction is Weiss is back in because of their close connection to Saudi Arabia and Saudi Arabia's rise. Weiss is about to become the new Al Jazeera.
I must evaluate that.
Okay.
Well, you know, obviously, if Saudi Arabia loves anything, it's journalists. So I think, you know, it depends. Like, how handy is Shane Smith with a bone saw these days? I think that's really the question we should ask. You know,
I feel like the early Vice, like electro clash era Vice aesthetic, has like come and gone. With regards to the now empty Dime Square. I assume Dime Square is empty. I never hear about it anymore. But
have you seen the Riyadh headquarters?
I was over in Lower East Side on Friday. Yeah.
Did you see the guy from The Help?
Nah, I went to this bar called with a friend, and very risky idea.
that's kind of cool. No, was it good?
We were the oldest people in there by like probably 7-8 years.
What were people wearing in there?
Not shit I was wearing.
Did you see that article about how like I think it was like on like Bloomberg Economics or something today about how like Zoomers, like the graph of like how Zoomers like basically don't drink and have not left the house and like, or like the chart of like things and like video game. I don't know. I'm not like optimistic about.
I mean, Zoomers definitely don't drink. I've had multiple experiences of talking to a Zoomer where their version of I've been drinking or has been like, I have split one beer very, very, very slowly with at least one other person.
Oh no, the Zoomers up here drink, dude.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna say which bar it is because I like the bar and I like the people who work there, and I don't want people thinking it's just like a fucking rowdy house. But I've seen Zoomers in there like down a beer and then throw up directly into the pint glass and just put it down the corner.
Okay. Trey, what is your prediction for this year?
Okay, so my first prediction is that at some point in the new year, the US is not going to be the center of the musical universe anymore.
Say more.
I think
we're going to get an English act or some kind of like, there's going to be a K-pop band that finally just like breaks the shit out of that glass ceiling. Or we're going to get like some African drill or something that's just like nobody's ever heard shit like this before. But I do think there's going to be like a 2-3 month span where nobody's checking on what's going on in America. And I think there's going to be a big kind of avalanche towards looking abroad.
I think there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, in like, if you think about it, right, Bad Bunny is already sort of that. You know, he's insane. He might be the biggest artist other than Taylor Swift in the world.
And he's still technically American.
Oh, right, because he's Puerto Rican. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, a lot of like, you know, the trap, like reggaeton kind of trap kind of stuff is definitely. I mean, I think Nigeria like has a good chance of producing somebody that would kind of be that huge. I mean, UK rap is obviously. I mean, like I never expected like Dave and Central C are obviously pretty huge, you know. So I think, yeah.
I also think this is a big year for Bad Boy Chiller Crew.
Yeah.
We can only pray.
Yeah, like, especially abroad. Like, yeah, I think they get a feature with like Ariana Grande or some shit.
I think that's a good. I mean, I think like I think you're right in the sense of like when we talk about rap, I think a lot of the major label executives that maybe were trying to sign rap 5 years ago are probably looking for international stuff, because even like most of like we're talking about like that generic kind of sound, that's sort of what plays, right? Like not necessarily, you know, it's like kind of always like I feel like someone like Burna Boy, someone will figure out how to sand that even more down to kind of be a more palatable kind of Ed Sheeran-ish kind of sound.
Yeah, like a Burna Boy 2.0 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this kind of sounds like Canada erasure from your part, because I don't know if you've looked at the Billboard charts the past 10 years, but there's been a Canadian in the top 10 for that 10 years. No, he's Australian. That's not the same. Bieber, Drake, The Weeknd. What do you mean? Who?
I mean, I think Drake is a perfect precursor to this.
Bieber.
Yeah, but Canada's never been the center of the musical universe. Drake spent his whole time trying to sound like he was from Houston. So, like, yeah.
Or at the Bay at one point. Like, Drake is sort of like a
chameleon. Yeah, the Weeknd wants to be Quincy Jones, Michael Jackson type shit. Like, it's...
We cannot erase OPN from that
we
equation.
Cannot erase OPM from that. Yeah, shout out OPM.
Yeah.
One day friend of the cast, but yeah.
Drew, what's your prediction for the next year?
All right. This is do you guys want to hear the big one first or the really big one?
The really big one.
All right. Skinny pants are gonna come back. The legs, they're getting smaller. Big pants, they've gone on for too long.
I disagree.
So you think it's gonna start at the top or the bottom of the leg?
It's all at once. I mean, it's going to be a gradual shrinking, but at one point, maybe late autumn via climate change, like the pants will be tight.
I think baggy pants have 2 to 3 more years left.
Yeah.
I was actually talking with a bartender earlier today, and she thinks that it's actually going to be Bermuda pants or Bermuda shorts on women are going to come back. And then the capri pants on men, like the Young Dro capri pants.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if they're getting skinnier.
Yeah, I think. Well, if you think about it, right? Like, so
I think they'll get longer and shorter, but like
baggy pants had what, like 1991 or 2 up until 2009, right? So like 2008. So I think like it's gonna be until, because Zoomers, they're baggy pant pilled, right? Like kind of how millennials got like kind of, well, older millennials were baggy pant pilled, then we're like, oh, and you can still see like 34-year-old to 37-year-olds that like are still kind of wearing skinny-ish pants and kind of look out of it because it hasn't like clicked yet. But yeah, I think it has some more time. But I think Trey's got a point where it might be some kind of weird thing, like some kind of like left field pant that we didn't see coming.
I mean, the Wrangler cowboy cut has had a minor moment. I could see that sustaining, because that gets you tight butt, but loose leg without being a bell bottom.
I think the Zoot.
But then like they all want to look cool too. So like, do we get hammer pants back?
That possible.
Ooh.
I mean, Danny Brown has been wearing those huge, like kind of Jinkos. Yeah, exactly. So
the fact that Jinkos came back is insane.
That's the only thing I can say good about Zoomers is that they brought baggy pants back. I'm ready for it. I was great. I can wear this again. I was here for the first one. You know?
I mean, I guess my theory was based around the like Danny Brown level baggy pants, where I thought that like it would like reach like the horizon point, and then it would be like zoop, like all the way in.
Yeah.
With the baggy plants would just implode on themselves.
Exactly, yeah, like
But you gotta
like a
think about
dying
that.
star.
That was the late 90s. So it took almost a full decade to go back to skinny jeans before that, So
Are young people letting the bottom near their ankles get all ripped up like people used to, like walking on it
Nah,
and
because
letting
they
it?
don't know ball, man. They cuff them up. They don't know ball.
What? They don't do that?
They don't know ball. Not the ones I've seen, or they're not wearing them enough.
Yeah, they're not wearing. They take too good a care of them.
oh god.
Or they're all from Sheen and they disintegrate after you wash them a second time.
You used to let that shit get fucked up.
Yeah, I remember
I
this.
still do, like with my pairs of jeans, and then I just like Jordan them for the next summer and buy a new pair. Yeah.
Joe, do you have a prediction?
I did write one. Sorry.
That's okay. I will go again because I have like very minor predictions. My other one, 2000 style indie rock music is going to come back. I believe the death of Pitchfork is going to spark an interest in like the types of bands that had 5 guitar players each playing a different chord and like played toy instruments and kind of wailed in a weirdly pleasing way. Like Clap Your Hands Say Yeah is gonna hit the TikTok.
I hope so. They were Clap Your Hands Say Yeah was that first album, and the second album was pretty good too. Actually.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's a good prediction, Drew. You know who is that band now, but kind of like sucks now that I never like saw their original lead singer, so people love that. But Black Country New Road, like, and I went to one of their concerts and I was like, this is very Arcade Fire, and apparently like their first, and it was all like Zoomers. So I think there will definitely be. I think there's going to be like print magazines. Obviously, Nobels are going to do one. I mean, I did The Land, and I saw like kind of the precursor of kind of this happening, where people like love print. I think like blogs, obviously spearheaded by the Nina Protocol and POW, will come back to a point, for sure. I mean, I think like this 2000s culture in general, you were going to see a continued, like revival of that, all the stuff that, I feel like it's always 20 years behind, right? So like we're in 2004. So I think it's a perfect time for like the Arcade Fire core to kind of return.
Because you have the Dare, who is literally doing LCD sound system, which is like just an incredible thing to think about.
Yeah.
Before I do my prediction, I have a question for Jeff. How many things do you subscribe to, like monetarily? Like, what are you monetarily invested in? I
am the last person under the age of 75 with a LA Times print subscription. I think I still have like expired Esquire and GQs that like they keep sending it to me. I still have an LA Mag subscription that I don't know if it's even like ongoing, but they send that to me. I pay for what Substacks do I pay? I mean, I pay for like some of like people I know Substacks. I'm trying to think of like someone who's like Substack I really like.
Matt Iglesias.
They don't know. Yeah. It's only Matt Iglesias and Substack.
I subscribe to him twice.
Or I mean, it's like I subscribe to the Culture Journalist that Emily and Andrea have, because those are friends, and it's obviously good to support them because they're doing good work. I just subscribe to the No Tags podcast that I just did that episode, and I like root for them. But in terms of, I don't know, shit is expensive. Like, I subscribe to Jason.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
expensive. It's
it adds up.
Yeah, it definitely does. Like I did the math and I was like, wait, so I'm spending like $500 on this stuff, whereas like used to be able to get like, I used to be like, oh, the New Yorker's too expensive because it's like $65 a year, $70, whatever it was,
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like there's got to be like $5 a month is sort of a lot, like unless you're producing daily. If you're producing, I think daily writing, like I wouldn't feel bad if someone was like, oh, you have to pay $5 for POW or something, because you're like 30, you know what I mean? Plus, maybe you're getting a podcast, plus maybe you're getting playlists or something. But I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the value of a dollar is about to be felt a lot more this year, which is why I think that pizza and going out for a slice of pizza is back in.
I
I
like
feel
that.
like people don't do that anymore, but it's going to start back up. Going for a slice.
Well, that's the other thing, right? About Zoom, like we talk about Zoomers. You're like, well, yeah, they're probably not drinking because it's like $17 a drink in LA and New York. Like, I stopped.
Not if you know where you're going. Not if you know.
No. That is a New York thing. LA has very few spots where New York does have
Sometimes
like.
in New York, you have to walk past 17 bars to get to the bar, but you know you're gonna.
LA does not, but LA does not have that. Like everywhere
Yeah,
I
you
go,
have to drive to the bar, man. And also, y'all don't really have to drive. You just do it. The bar will be 3 blocks away. It's like, yeah, let's get in the car. Yeah. So like, yeah.
yeah, LA does not have. I mean, like I cannot find a bar. In
It's like
LA.
if you see somebody walking down the sidewalk in LA, y'all are like, oh, he's homeless. And
How much is a pint of beer in LA, Jeff?
I mean, like if you're going to a club, like a show.
No. Like a normal bar.
At a normal bar, I would say
a
like
bar that would be your local or whatever.
$8 or $9 probably.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's about the same as here.
What's the most cost efficient beverage in terms of like
Ethanol.
alcohol to
It's
dollar?
a martini.
Espresso or non?
No, an espresso martini gonna cost you an extra $10.
Yeah, no, the Beats, that was the Beat generation. That was like they drank martinis, a lot of them, because they was just like you could get fucked up on 2 drinks.
Yeah, a martini, depending on where you go, is gonna be like 4 to 6 shots in one glass, and it'll cost you like fucking $18.
I mean, a Long Island iced tea will also get you fucking tanked. Like, but then you have to order a Long Island iced tea.
Yeah, you gotta and you gotta drink the whole thing. Which Long Island iced tea is cool, like 1/3 the way through, but yeah.
Yeah.
Have you tried putting vodka in that Panera Bread lemonade?
The death juice.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, you know the Panera lemonade that's been killing people or whatever. It's killed someone.
2 people.
Oh,
Yeah, two people.
Dude.
It's like what's wrong with our culture when the lemonade kills you and then there's not like that one spicy chip that I can do that. You're like, what's wrong with you? Like
That's what Pitchfork has to do. They have to make a product that's like the worst sound ever heard. And then you have to do the Pitchfork challenge where you have to listen to the sound.
They're kind of
And
that.
go
It's just like
viral.
everything they like spend on Pitchfork is just like once a year we're gonna get like fucking Lil Uzi Vert to eat the hottest chip on earth and just record his reaction every time. And then next year we'll have a new artist. But yeah.
I like the idea of the like Pitchfork putting all of its remaining funds into the musical Samizdat.
The
I
brown,
mean,
the
that's
brown
like
movies or whatever.
that is the only way I think like that publications are going to survive is if they like have some kind of other thing that's feeding them. You know what I mean? Like I don't think like I mean like I didn't mention it, but like it's also the death of the display ad. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of gone. And like there was a period where people were getting like I'm sure Weiss was getting it millions of dollars for these display ads, and like they just don't exist in any kind of meaningful way. And that like
That's what I was talking about. Google and Facebook. Why
yeah.
I'm not gonna say none is gonna end me up on a watch list, but yeah, something needs to be done.
Yeah, no, there's 2 things that I really wish that people would get really riled up about because it would have like a fundamental change, I think, in like daily lives, which like the news we consume is clearly important, whether you think Pitchfork, you know what I mean? But like all new, like look at the shitty situation that we're in where it's like basically you can't trust, like I don't know what's a real magazine with the shell company anymore. And like I'm in it. And I think if you had those like the legislation that's currently in California, because they've done that in Australia and like publications have grown. And like they're in robust health or relatively compared to America. And the other thing which nobody's talking about, and I wish that like people on the left would kind of like focus on this because I think again this would be a really big thing. What is there's currently something in Congress right now which it's not going through, but like to stop private equity from buying single family homes. And I think a big reason why all around America why homes are so fucking expensive. I mean, they exploded because during the pandemic, all these fucking companies, like, I mean, it's such a sham, right? Where they're like, oh yeah, the reason why inflation happened is because like people got $1,800. It's like, no, it's because these private equity companies got like,
wasn't even 1,800, man. Joe Biden still owes me money.
I think I got 18. Yeah, I like didn't get a check or something. Like there's one that was but yeah, but like if that happened, I think prices would go down because private equity couldn't do it. But like that, I think that should be something that people should, be like protesting and kind of, because I think you could actually exert political pressure where maybe something like that could pass. Because but those two things could really change people's lives, where you'd have you more quality media, you'd have an ecosystem that would exist. Because like if you think about the media thing, and this is like the thing that like I get so upset about, is it's not just the writers, it's the musicians, it's films, it's directors, it's writers. That like I have a book coming out. You obviously had an excellent book, and it's like you got a lot of press, but like you probably would have had 5 times more press if like the press was like existed in a meaningful way the way it used to. And that
absolutely
sales. Yeah, and there's all these different things. There's a young generation of writers where it's like I don't know, it's just a better culture when there is a healthy press. And I think now like there's all these things are intertwined, and I think like all weeklies are gone. You know what I mean? Like that, and a lot of it is also just corporate greed. But there's like this entire, there was that Ezra Klein thing where he's like the middle class has been gutted, but it's been happening for a long time. And I think like obviously, Drew, you were a voice guy, weren't you at first?
No? I wrote for them a bit, yeah, but I didn't work there.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. But yeah, it just doesn't like there's no ecosystem anymore. It's sort of like it. Sort of like the food chain's all destroyed. So.
All right, Joe, you have a prediction.
I think AI is going to start to fall out of style by the end of the year. It's not gonna catch on with people the way I think people are saying it is.
Do you know anyone in your life who uses AI?
I agree. I think AI is 3D printing.
I disagree.
I think AI has already been used in business, and it will continue to be used behind the scenes and probably get used more behind the scenes, but you can't sell it on a consumer level. You can't. There's people still, no matter how isolated people get, certain things demand like flesh and blood, like you to show up. You know what I mean? Like, so I think weirdly I have this, I don't think AI is kind of like that style. Like,
oh, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that was it. I don't think it's going to be in style by the end of the year. Like, I think it's going to weirdly fall off. Like, it's going to start to look like people are going to start to hate it, and it's going to become uncool pretty quickly.
Like, for me, it's kind of that thing where even boomers, like, they'll call up a phone number, it's like, can I just speak to a person? I'm tired of speaking to a robot. And like
we've always hated that. And you get a person eventually.
True. If you yell long enough,
you just find one more phone number, or what if you Google how to get a person, you can get a person.
It's like you go on LinkedIn to get somebody's like Google voice number. And they're like, hello? And like, yeah, I've got a bone to pick with you.
But I'm open to push back against that. It's also what I want to happen. So it's a bit of a prediction and a desire, but I do firmly sort of believe it.
I mean, I think it's so deeply ingrained in our, like, I mean, right now, like, let's take Spotify, which, like, obviously I wish I didn't have to have Spotify, but like, it's so easy, and you have, like, you know what I mean? If you told
I'm a music obsessive.
If you told me when I was 13, you can listen to every album ever immediately, I would have been like, that is the greatest invention ever made, But I think like right now, it's so crazy the way it's being used, right? Where it's like, I don't know, there'll be like a young LA rapper, right? That I'll like be kind of into. Like, have you heard this kid X4, or like there's this kid Bandit DeMac who's like 19 and is actually incredible. Like, he's the best young LA rapper I've heard in a couple of years. And Bandit DeMac, and he just turned 19, and he's from the Inland Empire, and he's a great storyteller. He is my like favorite LA rapper, and I like almost all of the ones that kind of bubble up, but he's really he's sort of the one, I think. Who knows if it'll go any further, but he's like telling kind of like complex crime sagas, which is like really precocious for a 19-year-old. But like Spotify already has listen, do you want to hear your daily Bandit to Mac mix? And I'm like, that's fucking insane. Like, nobody knows who he is other than like 4 16-year-olds in Victorville. Like, Sugar Free's kids are the only people in me that know who he is. But it's
Do you think that there's a possibility that MP3 collecting will come back in a retro way? It'll be cool to have a big hard drive filled with MP3s that other people don't have, and then
I could see
like,
iPod classics coming back. Like people would buy
some shit like that.
you know.
Okay, sick. I found them. I'm about to listen to this.
You
shit.
gotta but you gotta collect the MP3s. It's offline. We're not talking to any cloud shit. That's uncool.
Okay, but what if we backed it up with the digital ledger that was saved to the blockchain?
Nah, it's too complicated. I'm just talking about how cool it was when we, we're all of the age that we were able to download a big ass folder, put the whole fucking folder on whatever iPod we had, and listen to 100 new songs like that.
Yeah, but if you weren't careful, like you
It's
would download like a 500 songs, and then you would play one, and you just hear, "Yo!" and then
Fake MP3s are incredible, dude. That is so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys remember
this is the Beatles? Like, what the fuck is going on here?
you guys remember
But then you're like,
Our
it's better than the
Tunes?
Beatles, actually.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Do you guys remember Our Tunes? It was this thing where, like, if you connected two computers, it was a program that would let you download from the other person's iTunes.
Yeah. I remember
That is
that.
dangerous.
Yeah. I totally remember that.
Yeah, that.
Well,
If that comes true, I would like that. Sorry.
I mean, I feel bad for like I believe that obviously there's always going to be kids that are going to like love music, but it's just like on some level, like a certain scarcity, like it makes things more valuable, right? Like just in any like quality of life, right? So when you only could get like 30 songs at a, you know what I mean? Like you bought a CD and you're like, I must listen to the CD like 50 times because I do not have money to buy another CD. That like you're gonna like have deeper memories and emotions connected to a piece of music versus like, like I don't know, this morning I was like, man, I've been listening to a lot of like Georgia Duke's discography, right? And like I'd listened to some of it obviously, but like I was like, oh damn, like this album's from 1974 is sick. I can now listen to the whole thing. But like, am I gonna have, I mean, you know what I mean? Like you're just not gonna, it's it's like eating from a buffet.
Dude, it was like so over the past year, it was because like I'm sure you guys have fallen like victim to this before, like being music writers or like music journalism, whatever. It's like you feel like you have to consume more than you can actually like sit down and give something time. Because it's like it's one thing to like one album and really, really be able to talk about it, but like when it comes time for like, you're doing end of the year lists and stuff, like you kind of need to know what everybody's been talking about. And so there are periods when like you don't get to sit down with the album and give it what
Slava has fallen asleep.
No, I'm not asleep. I'm just,
over here.
No, I'm good.
But yeah, it's one of those things that I've been going back and like listening to stuff that I might have like sat down with for like maybe one or two listens. Like, oh, this is pretty good. And going back is like, no, this is actually fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Like I've been listening to a bunch of old Sturgill Simpson stuff. Fucking the past two Tyler albums I really sat down with over the past couple weeks recently, and it was like, oh, he's really like rapping his ass off on Call Me If You Get Lost.
Yeah.
It's actually a fantastic fucking album. And then even that was blind spots for me before. Like, you guys ever gone through like Alan Lomax's fucking projects?
A little bit, yeah.
That's
incredible. That's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like even if you just go to the transcripts of his interviews, it's just like, what do you mean the field of dead Negroes? And yeah, it's fucking insane shit. But like, yeah, man. I'm hoping like that's honestly one of my predictions for the year is like people are gonna get back to old shit. I also have two more after this one, but like, yeah, I think like popular music's like in such an uninspired place right now. People are gonna go back and be like, huh.
Yeah.
All the way back to Alan Lomax.
Dude, they should teach Alan Lomax in schools, man.
Good.
Yeah. I learned Alan Lomax in college.
You could do a political class. I mean, like about like the politics of the era, like Jim Crow South and like
like fucking like chain gang songs and shit, or like parts of West Texas that were just like
and he just
they don't matter. Like
he discovered Leadbelly, right? Like wasn't that his? Yeah. So I mean, like, and Leadbelly was in Angola, so it's like you could do a class like just on that Angola, from like Leadbelly to Boosie, and it's
that's cut that part. Like,
teach that class.
All right, Trey, what are your other?
to cheat that class? Yeah.
I was listening to Boosie today. I was like, it's like we've totally gotten to the part of the culture where I'm like, they don't make them like this anymore.
Oh, dude, did you hear that Gucci C Murder album? Gucci BG album, and they got a song with C Murder on it.
Is it good?
No.
Dude, I played it in the wine shop, and it'll be like a bunch of moms come in and be like, "Ooh, what's this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's right."
Yeah, I feel like I was like, I know that there's going to be 3 of the best songs ever made on that album. I just need to know what they are to not.
Dude, I know it's pretty solid from top to bottom.
All right, I'm gonna listen to that.
Yeah.
So Trey, what are your other predictions? You said you had 1 or 2.
Okay, so what was the one I just said?
Biden's gonna win.
Okay, so I said people going back to old shit, and yeah, that might be something for us to talk about on this podcast this year. Yeah,
I think that's definitely. I mean, I think a lot. You already seeing it. I think with a lot of Zoomers, where like if you look at like what's popular. I mean, that like Sophie Ellis Baxter, it's like the biggest song in America because Saltburn, and like you already are seeing it. What was with Kate Bush?
Kate Bush,
yeah, like you
Slow Dive.
Yeah, totally right. Oh, yeah,
it was a few years ago. What's his name? Skateboarding down that hill, and Fleetwood Mac was playing. Like, yeah.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, that guy.
And even more recent stuff, man. Like, yo, it's weird to say this about Danny Brown, but Danny Brown might be the most underrated rapper of his fucking generation.
I agree.
And like, yeah, it's like that. What is it? Triple X Ode and Atrocity Exhibition is arguably the best trilogy of our, adulthoods, at least.
Yeah, it's for sure. Yeah, I mean, I thought Quaranta was great.
Quaranta was fucking insane, dude.
Yeah.
Like he's so fucking good, and like he's never got that big. Mind you, there ain't too many Danny Brown songs you can play on the radio, so I get it. But
I was gonna say probably cut it, but I do you know I'm doing a book with Danny?
I didn't.
Oh no. That's sick.
It's not I don't know why they.
Okay, we'll cut that and let you.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like set it on no tags because I figured like they were gonna like cut it. I thought they were gonna announce it by now, but they just didn't announce it. I was like, ooh. So I just like accidentally. But yeah, no, we're doing a book.
Okay, no cut. We're the ones announcing it. Yeah,
you can. I don't think like Danny cares. You know what I mean? So it's,
I don't think.
Like I mean, Danny.
What's the book about?
The book is going to be like just about the goal. That I kind of Danny's like, I don't know, whatever you want. The goal is to sort of like,
it's like the book's about you, bro.
I know, I was like, it's talking about me. I think my goal for it, and I think we're both in agreement, is like make it somewhere between like the Ego Trip book, like Prodigy's autobiography, and the Beastie Boys book. Those are like the 3 goals of making. What about
That's
Danny
really
Brown?
cool, man.
And sort of thanks, yeah. I mean, and just about like one of the only people like they came to me and they're like, "Do you want to do this?" And I really I had no interest in doing a book with anybody, but like I was like,
well, it's a guy like fucking Danny, man. Like,
I was like, he's
like again, like one of the closest things we have to a fucking folk hero.
Totally. Yeah.
Did any of you read his recent interviews where he talked about being blackout drunk doing the songs with Woods? We might have to cut this.
Yeah, he told me about it personally.
He was not blackout while he was here. We cannot account for what happened after, but he delivered 2 incredible verses, had several conversations. Like, I mean, I can't say for sure, but it was very surprising to hear that he did not hear. That's the thing. Like they left here partying still. So if he drank more after he left, I totally get it. But that was crazy, surprising to hear that he
was like, I don't remember anything because I was like, that was one of his best verses. Like,
Joe was like,
he did 2 in one night.
Danny Brown talking about Jewish tunnels on the next album. That's not my fault. Like, yeah,
he did 2 in one night. He did that track and he did the track for Blockhead, both.
Right. Yeah.
And both of them are very good. And
he was like, I don't know. I knew that I had to come up with some shit for Woods because he's so good. And then he's like, I was just like stealing lines from my different, like, because I guess he was saying how he had like all these notes and he just took the best one from every notepad that or like every digital, note that he had.
And he kept going past where he was supposed to go. And luckily I just did not hit stop because like the last part of it, he just kept going and going and it all got left in. And it was really good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
awesome.
We're going back to old shit, and even not that old shit. Like I think a bunch of these younger kids are also going to discover like the older ASAP projects and shit.
Yeah.
I think they're going to discover like old Gucci shit. I think they're going to, yeah, it's like
Boosie is probably going to come back. Like I already saw it, like Sexy Red was like Boosie's my favorite rapper. So like someone like that's going to come back, I think.
Yo, I was listening to old gangster because I was listening to old Tyler shit. I went back and listened to old Gangster Girls, man. And like they're hard to find, but some of these are really fucking good.
Which ones were you listening to?
The Pharrell Gangster Girls.
Yeah.
That first Fabulous one is fucking insane, dude.
Really? I never listened to that. Yeah.
That one fucking goes crazy.
Does Late Nights with Jeremiah count as a Gangster Girls album? If so, that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Which
if
one?
DJ Drama's yelling in the background, then it counts.
Oh, okay. Then there's a lot. There's the Childish Gambino one. Oh, that's Pitchfork's legacy to me. Is Childish Gambino being upset about
the monkey pissing in his mouth or whatever?
No, that's Jet.
Childish Gambino got Ian Coned at peak Ian Cone. It was. Well, I mean, if you think about it, like as much as like Pitchfork could be like vicious, they like did make Childish Gambino and Mac Miller make better music,
Yeah.
Like, to be fair, like Mac Miller got a lot better, like
Yeah, and then Childish Gambino made Redbone.
Yeah. Redbone's like a good song, even though it's like basically a Bootsy Collins cover, but it's still
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they made Machine Gun Kelly bring real punk rock back.
Lace up.
Okay, my last two, and I don't think we need to go deep in these, but I think websites with the ending .fm are going to come back. And also gourmet hot dogs. Not hot dogs, gourmet corn dogs.
Ooh, nice.
Cool.
I see
That
Korean,
the corn dog is a like trend forecasting, like
we have a couple like Korean fried spots around us that like have open and closed. I think they were just ahead of their time. We also had a place called Glizzy's.
Really?
Which I didn't like that because nobody from DC was involved in that shit. And they're shut down and like, sorry for the people who work there. They were nice, but the owners overstepped their bounds. And yeah.
is Criff Dog still around?
Probably.
If so, they are perfectly positioned.
I think it's Year of the Dogs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like somebody's gonna make a $20 corn dog and people are gonna buy that shit, and it's just gonna be one of those like how the fuck did we get here kind of things,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Jeff, your response is the $20 corn dog the next cronut?
I could definitely see. I feel like I've seen a few like designer corn dogs like around town. Like there's definitely something bubbling in the air,
in the air fryer, if you will.
Yeah.
This is a live bedtime story for Slava now.
Your voice is so soothing, Drew. Drew, keep talking.
For the listeners, Slava has like a t-shirt wrapped around his head and is laying back in bed. His purple neon light that says "It's lit" is still on, though.
It says sus.
Oh, sus. Okay.
We can't see. Yeah.
It's fine. Take my word for it. I've never lied to you. Oh, wait. I have one more prediction. Cocaine is out. Okay. It's not cool to do cocaine anymore. It's also very easy to get it. Everyone's worried about fentanyl. Everybody wants to become an entrepreneur, but everybody lacks the hustle and grind. So cocaine, it's out.
Yeah, I mean, people are dying from it, so like, I think it's probably gonna hurt cocaine's. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean I think like it's probably gonna lead like, I don't know, like a lot more sobriety. I think. Like, I mean, did you see this thing where it's like there's like non-alcoholic bars now, like all. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the mocktail
mocktails,
bars.
mocktail bars.
That's like definitely gonna be a thing.
Oh yeah, we have a few of those around here.
Yeah, and the regular bars are starting to serve them a ton too. Have a couple mocktails on the.
Also, the non-alcoholic beer is getting really fucking good, man.
Yeah, have you had a non-alcoholic White Claw?
What?
Do y'all have
Yeah.
this?
No, but I've
You mean
seen
just like a
commercials
LaCroix?
in
LaCroix?
America.
Yeah.
No, it's like like White Claw, right? The
Are you talking
seltzer,
about a
the hard
Sprite?
seltzer. It's like that, but it has no alcohol, so it's like 0%.
So it's Sprite.
No, it's just a seltzer.
No, it's got a kick to it. Also, Trey, on a very early episode of Nersy, you told me about the bitters thing and just putting bitters in seltzer. There's a lot of alcohol in bitters.
There is.
No, there's like
Yeah.
bitters are like maybe like 1.5%.
No,
Yes.
that's what I was
I don't know
drinking.
what kind of bitters y'all using up there, but I'm telling you the kind of bitters that I get it.
That's like 15%,
Yeah, that
bro.
shit is like maybe max 2% alcohol.
No,
Well, I thought it was also
You,
you just
drink,
didn't.
you need to drink 50 of those with a lot of bitters in it to get drunk. And
Okay.
if I'm drinking 50 waters a night, I'm dead anyway because I'm gonna get water poisoning. So like, yeah, it's not on the bitters.
You do like 10 dashes of bitters, though. Like, you do a lot of dashes.
No, you don't.
You're doing it wrong. The
But
drink
you're
that you
still
told
trying
me
to get
about,
drunk off of a bitters drink. That's not the point.
well,
Bro,
why
go to
would you
sleep.
look-
You're delusional as hell right now, man. Like, yeah, you tired as shit.
there's alcohol in bitters. That's all I'm going to say.
There's alcohol and vanilla extract. You don't get drunk off of rum cake. Like,
There's
come on.
alcohol in vanilla extract.
Google says there's like 35%.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
Nah,
You only have a little
we
bit
using
in your
different
drink.
bitters, bro.
Yeah.
We're using different
Wait, it
bitters.
says yeah.
I had 2 bitters and sodas like the other night and didn't get it
And
at all. Buzzed.
You didn't get
Yeah,
drunk at all?
thank you, Jeff. Yeah, these fucking Philistines. Yeah.
No.
That was just
I didn't know it had any
what Food and
alcohol.
Wine
Honestly,
said.
this is new to me. I thought I was like being like dry jam. I not like I would.
God, dude, it's the most marginal amount of alcohol in there that it doesn't even matter. Like, hold on, what?
I just googled what percent alcohol is in bitters, and it says between 35 to 45%.
But they put in so
Thank
little,
you.
that, like you can't get fucked up. on it.
Vindicated.
You gotta drink
Right
like a
before I
bottle
go to
of
sleep.
bitters after.
God, what a great way to fall asleep.
All right, new term.
sober
New York
drink.
sober is just drinking soda and bitters.
But a
Shouts
lot
out
of bitters.
Michelle Look.
You don't even have
Um,
to be 21 to buy the bitters, man.
I know, yeah, that's so weird.
Yeah, it's like adding a drop of vanilla extract into a milkshake. Okay,
Mm.
yeah, fuck off.
It's flavoring.
Flava over here chugging a thing of fucking Angostura
Yeah,
and wondering
yeah.
why he's goddamn
Getting
it.
drunk on Josh and bitters.
Let's quickly each talk about a song we're into. We've Jeff. Is there a song that you have been enjoying? We're trying to make segments now.
Yeah,
This
that's
was called Sleepers.
yeah. That kid, Bandit the Mac. I really like that. What's the? Look it up. Like, see, this is the problem. Like, I'm like, yeah, I like this one song by this artist, and I'm like, it's off his new album, Out of Control, Tragic Tale Part 1. I really like that song.
This nigga dreaming about some pussy, getting his freak on. He hella horny, drooling on the pillow that he sleep on. His fantasy get interrupted by a ringtone. iPhone 6, nigga grown with a pink phone. He pick it up and say what's cracking in a mean tone. His homie laughed and gave him 3 words, said the ching's gone. That's all he had to say to snap him out his wet dream. He put the phone on speaker and start reaching for his XD. And now he cheesing cause he's scheming with his thieving ass. But he still got to get to him, said to him, where we linking at? His homie chuckled cause he noticed how his mood changed. He told him he gon' send it, he ain't him it by a food place. He said for sure he gon' be there in about an hour. He just gotta change the place on his beamer and got
Like I said, he's a kid from that. To me, honestly, mainly what I listen to like is just like LA regional rappers, a lot of whom are from the Inland Empire now, or like Palmdale, Victorville, places like that. It feels very, it's very obviously post Draco, but it just feels kind of like unmediated from industry, which I like. It feels like kids just making music that they don't like. I think to me that's like kind of the spirit of rap, is kids making music and not really knowing which rules they're breaking, and just kind of maybe imitating the artists that they really like, but finding something new somewhere in. And this kid is a really great storyteller, and that's been something that West Coast rap isn't. I mean, there obviously have been great West Coast storytellers, but it's not generally like it's not as narrative based, obviously, is like the East Coast tradition. So it's kind of shocking to see this kid, writing such like cogent and kind of harrowing narratives. So yeah, that would be it.
Mine is a song called Armored Core by an artist named Tech Linto, who I think he's from Arizona, and he seems to be someone who plays like a lot of Counter-Strike and then makes music that is equally influenced by like the most out there Chief Keef, Young Thug, etc., what have you. And then also Lil Ugly Mane in his like approach.
MG on the corner of the car. I was 16, bad fucking up the decor. I'm useless, I guess I'm just naturally tweaked. It runs in my blood, or I just stay asleep. Up on shoulders with the academic types and the low lies and all the other different types of people.
One of his songs is just him gurgling nonsense. That's his big hit. It's called Ween Wow. But Armored Core is the true sleeper of the Tech Linto discography. It's very emotive.
What's
and
the
like
one called?
Ween Wow.
I feel like you're godfather of the Zoomers secretly. Like, I feel like your taste is like very like your brain gets Zoomer internet, I think, like naturally very, whereas my brain is like yeah. I'm gonna call you out on the pod, Jeff. I tried to convince you to let me just like jam in a song by this EDM country trap artist named Cowgirl Clue into the Passion of the Weiss year-end list by being like, listen, it's basically rap because she talks rhythmically. Didn't work.
That's how people. No, that's the same logic people tried to use for Debbie Harry, and like, come the fuck on, man.
Well, no, I would argue that's like a way different context because she was in like the Lower East Side of the early 80s when like rap is the first thing it's starting to happen, and like Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five are like playing the dance club alongside of like the Talking Heads or whatever. And so there was like actual like a genuine novel.
Trying to do something and doing something and not the same fucking thing. All right.
Well, tell that to Debbie Harry.
I will. Like, give me her phone number.
All right. Slava, do you have a song you would like to share?
Hell yeah, dude. I'm so happy you asked. So, a few months ago, Drew Millard put me on to a guy named Zach Bryan. And then I switched careers. And guess who the one artist that everybody listens to at this new job is? It's fucking Zach. It's John Leguizamo. No, it's Zach Bryan, dude. So, like, I'm up and up on all of the cool stuff because of Nersey. Which is why you should consider paying us $5 a month. But
it's more than $5. It's more than $5.
Yeah, we have a $200 tier that if you join it, you could just come onto our group chat. But anyway,
for $420, we'll give you our personal phone numbers, and you just call us whenever the fuck you want.
Absolutely. But the best
Zach Bryan
song,
even come kiss you on the mouth if you pay $500. Like, yeah,
mine is way cheaper rate than that. It's 140 half hour GFE, full Greek, DATY. But the song is called Whiskey Fever.
I love that one. 4, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whiskey drinking fever that I cannot shake, and those girls downtown are more than I can take.
High-waisted Rockies and the sailors' mouths, and the boys in the back of the bar screaming loud. Oh, whiskey really take me home. And I smell like cologne and cigarettes, but I
And the reason I like this one a lot is you don't see this much, but there's like a third verse reveal that like a lot of songwriters don't be doing anymore. So it'll be like, I don't want to spoil it, but the main character goes to serve in the army.
Damn.
Yeah.
Flex bomb.
Yeah. So that's my song of the week, my sleeper, my Joe Budden style sleeper. Did you see Alex Jones go at Joe Budden and he called him Joe Budden?
What?
How did we think that before? I feel like that was right in front of us.
Yeah, it's like after everything everybody said about Joe Budden over the years, Azealia Banks, Drake, Jay-Z, nobody has ethered him, the little B, thank you. Nobody got his ass harder than Alex Jones, calling him unironically Joe Budens.
He called him Osama bin Budens.
I'm gonna still say how you rapping with a full beard is still better. Little B, you know?
Yeah. T-shirts with buttons is one of the great diss tracks. Yeah,
like the thing about Little B is like obviously based. It's been fucked into oblivion by like right wing assholes, but Little B kind of two of the great diss tracks of all time. You know?
What's the other one? Fuck Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Fuck Kevin Durant.
Like how many great artists have two immortal like diss track? I feel like not many. You know,
most don't have a single
most
one.
don't have one, but like if you have one, usually you don't get like a second one. Like Jay-Z tried, and never, even his mom was like, "Whoa, like don't do that." You know.
Also, fuck Kevin Durant. Early iteration of hyperpop.
He's 2 gecs.
I would say it was like
that was at
80
least
gecs.
68 gecs.
Yeah. Trey, what is your Joe Budden style sleeper?
Oh, what have I been listening to lately? Hold
on. We can have Joe go if you want to look up a good one real quick.
Actually, I'll go with one Joe put me on to.
Okay.
Payola.
Yeah. So Brian Ennals and Infinity Lives, 2 years ago now, they put out this album, King Cobra. And this song, A Melancholy Boogie, I've listened to a lot lately, along with The Badger. The Badger is about killing your landlord, which makes it an immediate banger. But Melancholy Boogie is just like a funky ass like disco song where they talk about killing Ted Cruz and things and well, not killing him, but definitely stabbing him. It's a fucking sick song, man.
Yeah, that sounds like 1982. My disco band. If hell's hot, I put the flames on it. I miss my dad. I could care less of my riches. I just want the adoration that he never had. Bitch, I'm from Maryland. We need a new flag. With pics of dope needles, obeying some crabs. We used to say no selling out, but now that we older as fuck, let's get a bag. Fuck Ted Cruz forever. I hope he gets
That's an incredible album.
Yeah, that was great.
It's so fucking good, man. Dude, another one I play in the shop and people were like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah.
Brian Ennals, also incredibly nice guy.
Incredibly nice, one of my favorite rappers. Yeah, he's
incredible. Nice. He's like, great opinions. I'll tell him that much. Yeah,
he's smart. Yeah, he's really smart. He was like he was like an original Nah Right reader actually, and like was in the comments.
Cool.
And because when we reviewed his record, we did like a couple things on his album, right? And he's like, "Nah, you reviewed my music before," and I was like, "We did?" And he's like, "No, yeah. We had this writer named Mob Dean. I don't know if you remember Mob.
Oh
Dean.
my god, the one
best. Shout out Dean.
Yeah, slava.
Shout out Dean.
Yeah, no, I love. Yeah, Dean is a legend, and he's like Brian Ennals was like, yeah. Dean wrote about it, and I like looked it up, and I was like, oh yeah, I totally remember this. And I was like, how do you know Dean like that? He goes, yeah, we met in the Not Right comments.
Wow,
that's incredible.
Yeah,
man, shout out to Dean for calling Drake the beige god very early.
Dean, like that's the thing is I feel like if music journalism was like a sustainable thing, Dean could have been like a huge writer. I think Dean was so funny.
Yeah,
Dude, he was just like, I got a law degree, man. Fuck y'all. I'm
Exactly. Yeah, he's just like,
yeah. The fuck I look like.
Yeah, he's
I
like
think
six figures.
he's the first one that started calling it Fanute the Coop.
Yeah, he was a big proponent of Fanute the Coop.
I almost called
Dog.
I almost called my old podcast Shots Fired Fanute the Coop. Which honestly would have held up. So maybe I was wrong.
Yo, the Fanute will ride again, man.
Fanute is that should be the thing that we bring back in 20. That should be like
that's like an episode Fanute the 2024, Fanute the New Year. Yeah,
Fanute. Great verb. Like just an all-time great verb.
Right?
It's like way better than finessing. It's a totally but similar.
I Fanute the plug.
I once interviewed French Montana around the time that Fanute was coined, and I asked him about it, and he was just like, "Yo, there's much fanutation," as he was eating a Chipotle burrito. Okay, Joe, what is your sleeper?
Bruiser Wolf dropped a new album, and there's a track on there, Looney Tunes. It's really good.
What did she say? Listen, we both in the club singing offbeat. She need TLC shit, so I creep. The foreign color of urine, that's European. Cob corn, yellow diamonds, my jeweler vegan. Hey, dopamine. I'm a baker like Josephine. Yeah. Slinging kilograms. Just a Detroit hustler, rocking the feel of bread. But this is life. Oh, this is life. Deliver the boy and girl like a midwife. Hey, I'm sipping Clico, spinning Zeno.
You guys know Bruiser Wolf?
I love that. I think that
big Bruiser Wolf.
Yeah, I did. That's great.
Not a big one, but yeah, a fan.
This new album is really good.
I almost chose.
Yeah,
I was kind of. I know a few people that loved it and a few people that weren't crazy about it, and I was kind of shocked that anyone didn't. Like, I thought it was like definitely an improvement from. I loved the last record, but I think like he stepped up his storytelling on this one, and his flow. I think people like kind of assume it's kind of gimmicky, but on this one, I feel like he left a lot of room, and he's kind of like being even more playful, and there's like pauses between it, and I don't know, he's like an actor, you know.
He's one of the funniest, most charismatic rapper. Like, it's really comes through how much he enjoys it and how funny and like good, and like, dude, it's I'm shot. It's really. It was
definitely my like first favorite, like first great rap album of the year that I heard. You know, I like the Boldy, but this one I think was like a little bit.
Well, good news. There's like 5 Nas albums coming out this year, so if you didn't like anything about it,
and only 3 of them are about the pyramids.
Who built them? Jeff?
Speaking of pyramids, bonus prediction for me: the cannabis resurgence.
I don't even know what you're about to say.
Is upon us. Cannabis, he's coming back, dude. He has an album with the producer Bronze Nazareth, who's like he's like a sub True Master Wu-Tang affiliated producer. It's called like,
but
oh, dude, Mathematics had a beat on the first Wu-Tang, so he's obviously in tier like 1B.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, this album came out like 10 years ago, but it's like really good. It's like Cannabis getting good production for the first time in his life and being like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a 10-minute song about how I fucked my career up that's really good. But then also on this album, I will rap about getting abducted by aliens and having my own poop sucked out of my butt in a glacier. And like,
that's This is the first time he ever did that.
I mean, I hate it when that happens, but like, yeah.
Sometimes
This album is just, it's so good and it's just sitting there and someone is going to find it and put it on TikTok.
Best new music, 5.9.
It's gonna be Nersy.
Did you
It is gonna be
see
nerdy.
that like last week that like the Alien Ant Farm Smooth Criminal thing went viral? Did you see that? Which you probably like that
What?
one. Like
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Okay,
Yeah, I did.
unpopular opinion maybe, but I think Alien Ant Farm Smooth Criminal is better than the original.
Not unpopular, apparently. That's why it went viral. A lot of people are fucking with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, it goes harder than the original.
It's a banger.
Yeah.
I've never listened to an Alien Ant Farm song besides Smooth Criminal.
I mean,
I
me
think-
neither, but like when they're right, they're right.
I can't wait for TikTok.
I don't care to explore how right they are about other things, but they're definitely right about this one.
They're gonna discover Dynamite Hacks, Boys in the Hood next. It's gonna be it's like Eve 6
I
already
can't
came
wait.
back, so, yeah.
Yeah, Jump franchise boys are due for a comeback.
They definitely are.
Yeah. All right. Jeff, we are going to let you go. Thank you so much for coming on.
Love y'all.
Jeff,
When I have book promotion, I'm gonna hopefully you guys will still be doing this in a year. I would like
Absolutely.
there's still so many sites left to shut down.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll never run out of material.
We're coming to you, The Ringer.
This has been Nersy. Thank you so much for listening. I've been Drew. My co-hosts are Trey and Slava. Our producer is Joe, aka Steel Tip Dove. Our music is by Pulitzer Prize nominee Craig S. Jenkins. And our guest has been Jeff Weiss, aka Young the Land Magazine, aka the Hyperpop Hater, aka the Freestyle Fellow.
Yo, aka the reason we're all in this group chat right now, if you really want
Yes.
to break it down.
Yes.
AKA Coachella cops can't touch me.